muffler blew right off this Husqvarna. The weld's let go. It was just under this plate here. I'm going to remove that. And this was underneath. Bolt it on like so. So I'm going to have to weld that back on. I have to get it cleaned up a little bit first. Let's put a hole in there. I think I can line it up. Bit of a crack going on there. So I'll clean this up and weld it back on, and we should be back up in business. She's a little loud right now. Sounds like a bit of a truck, but we'll get her fixed up and running again. A little bit of work's been done on this little guy. This old muffler definitely looks like it's seen better days. I think there's still some life left in it. Okay, so I got my grinder ready to go. Got my part here. This is the muffler. So I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. So when I weld it on, it'll just, I like the nice bare metal instead of rust. So I'm gonna just grind that up a little bit and prepare both sides, and then we'll try to weld it back together. Here's the mating part. So we'll clean all the old weld and that up and get it down to bare metal, and yeah, we'll get at this. So we'll fit those two pieces back together like that, and we'll weld her up. Now what I did was I ground a little spot here and here because it's going to be thin where it broke. So although I'm going to re-weld it around to seal up the crack, I'm going to put a weld across here too, just to keep it strong. And then we'll weld the two cracks going towards the exhaust holes and get it all sealed up. Oops. Okay, so I'm just prying this tab up a little bit so I can get that lip kind of fit underneath. I'm just going to tap it in place. There we go. Get a nice fit. There, so I'll do a little tack weld there, and I'll reclamp it here to push that down a little bit, and then I'll do another tack weld there. Sorry, I don't know if you got that on film. So I'll do a little tack weld here, push it down. I'll remove my clamp. I'll clamp over here, and I'll clamp that down a little tighter, because whenever you weld, it tends to want to pull So we'll do a couple of tacks, and then we'll weld it up. Alright, so we'll plug this baby in. This is a nice little welder. I've had this, bought this welder in 2002. I bought this welder. It's the first welder I ever bought. I've bought a few more since then, but I must have went through several hundred spools, and I've never had an issue with this welder. I like it because it's 110, so I can bring it anywhere I want and just plug it in and go. It's pretty sweet. I have the gas hookup for it, obviously, but I don't need it. I could use flux wire. So put on our ground clamp, get some gas flowing here. Make sure I got my spool in there. And my wire got a little bit bent, so I'm gonna cut that off, and I'll get on my gear and we'll get this baby going. It's pretty thin material, so I'm not going to go too thick, too heavy on the amperage. So good. Crank that up a wee bit. We should be all right. Power on. Like I said, I'll give this a little trim. Here's my gas flow. Like I said, I'm going to do a little tack here, so I'm going to start from the heavy material, the thicker material, and just get my bead going, and then pull it over to the thinner material where it's kind of rusted and stuff. So if I started in the thinner material, I'd probably just blow a hole through it. So that's kind of my technique. Alright, so I got a little tack going there. Now I'm just going to get another little one, and then we'll clamp over here and do like I said. Alright, so yeah, I'll clean that up, reclamp, and tack it here, and then we'll weld it all around. Okay, I moved my clamp over, got it down here nice and tight now, and I got my ground back on, and now we'll just tack up this side here. Once again, starting from the thick side and working my way down. Like so. All right, now I'm going to clean it up with a little wire brush and then finish welding it. These little MIG packs are really handy. MIG is nice, but it does do a lot of spattering and stuff. But this isn't really a finished product that we're going to be seeing. It's tucked underneath the car, and we'll just, or underneath the lawn tractor, so you're not really going to see it. But I'll clean it up afterwards. It'll be fine. Yeah, so I just laid down a nice little weld across here. Clean off that flux. That sealed up that crack on that side. Now we'll do the one on the other side. So I just put my clamp here on this side just to pull that down a wee bit. so it's nice and tight for when I go do the weld on this side. So getting ready to go here. So once again, start at the thick side, work your way down to the small side, thinner side. Like so. Now, like I said, I'm going to do a couple little beads right here, just to give it a little extra strength. And there's a wee bit of a crack here, here, and here, so I'm going to touch those up as well. Okay, so I'm going to start at my weld buildup here, and I'm going to push it down into the crack and then up to the material, up to the bracket. Just kind of bridging that crack. Looking good. So there's a little bit of a crack on this back side, so I'm going to try to get in here now. I got a little pop up, that means I burnt a hole through it, so I'm gonna have to, it's really thin there and rusty, so now I'm gonna have to do some bridging. It's gonna be a bit of a mess, but I'll get it sealed up. Okay, so now I'm gonna clean off some of the slag that's on there, because I did have to do quite a bit of buildup on that hole that burst through, so I'll have to knock that down a bit. Okay, so I got my welds all knocked down and most of the slag knocked off. We're not looking for a perfect job here, but I'm gonna just give it a little light sanding, because I'm going to coat it just to knock the rust off first. Just to I'm gonna put a high temp coating on there and just help protect it a little bit. basically scuffing it up a bit. Gives the coating a better chance of adhering. Okay, so I got her welded on, scuffed up a bit, and now I'm going to put some, this is the top bracket that it bolts to. And it's getting a little rusty too, so I might coat that too. So I'm just going to take that, scuff that up a little bit so it'll adhere to it better. All right, so I just scuffed up the rust on this, both sides. Just with a little sander, 80 grit. So I'm gonna powder coat them both. Normally I sandblast and get all the rust completely off, but this is kind of a bit of an experiment just to see how much of a poor surface prep I can still get a fairly decent finish with. I'm using a high temp powder. Okay, so I'm ready to powder coat that exhaust. I just warmed it up in the oven a little bit. I'm doing it in a high temp cauldron. I'm going to heat it up for 45 minutes and leave it there for about 450 degrees for about 15 minutes. And then hopefully she'll be all sealed up nicely. My ground wire. And I have an earth ground here too. Okay, so I got a good coating on there now, and I'm going to put it in the oven now and cure it. There we go. I'll bring that up to 450 and then we'll leave it there for 15 minutes. Okay, let's have a look at what kind of temperature we're getting. We're at 450. Okay, so now we leave it in there for 15 minutes. Okay, time's up. Let's have a look. Looking good. All right, we'll pull these babies out. All right, here it is in a high temp black. You can still see a little bit of rust here because obviously I didn't grind it right down everywhere. But it actually doesn't look too bad. The plate's welded back on good and she's all sealed up. Got that cauldron look and it's a black high temp. We'll put that back on the tractor and hopefully we'll be good to go. My two pieces. Now I'm just going to take out my silicone plugs. I was using to protect the threads, and pull out the wire, and then we'll put this on. So that's basically how this exhaust is going to look. Be bolted on here. That's the plate we welded. And there it is. So once that's tightened down, it'll just be layered like that. Okay, so we got the tractor exhaust all welded up. We're going to install it on here now. So that's the new bracket that we welded on. It goes on like that. And then this plate go on there and just bolt it on. Okay, so I got that bottom piece pulled up nice and tight. Just goes on there like that. And a couple of bolts holding it on. Snug her up. There she is. Back in business. I'm gonna fire it up to see what it sounds like before I put the cab back on. And this little skid plate got bent, so I'm gonna bend that back in place too. Okay, I got that skid plate on the bottom bent back into place. Now we'll see what this sounds like. Take that. Now we'll put the cab on. We'll hook up these headlights, and the cab just snugs into there, and she's good. That side in. And that side in. Now hook up those wires. All right, thanks for joining Auto Value Motorcycles. There's the exhaust there. Plate's all bent back into place. She's ready to rock.